welcome. It's me, Persita, and this is Persita's Paradox. Coming to you this Tuesday with our recap from our Thought for Thursday last week. And that question was, what do you fear? Or, how do you fear? How do you control your emotions when it comes to fear? And what exactly is it that you do fear? So, I'm going to take my time with this a little bit because I find it to be really interesting how people use the word fear. I mean, we've absolutely seen the acronym for what fear stands for. If you are moving forward in fear, moving backwards in fear, and it's either running away or actually walking through it. And I'm just going to say that even in that acronym, I think it becomes a little distressful for people to understand what they're really saying. I mean, some people will actually say that you grow when you're in fear. I'm not quite sure how you can actually use fear as growth. I will say that if you're moving through fear, then you're growing. But to experience fear is not to experience growth. Does that make sense? I'm not quite sure, again, how when people say that, they feel as if, well, I know that I'm growing because I'm fearing. So fear just means that I should push through it. Okay, so then fear does not mean that you push through it. Fear means that you are aware that there's something new happening and that if you conquer fear, then you're progressive. But fear itself is debilitating. Now, you can say that fear puts you in a position where you have to make choices, but typically the person, to me, who uses the analogy that fear means growth never, ever grows. They simply talk in a circle, and it's something to make it sound like they understand where they are. But it sounds more convoluted than clear if you still believe that if you're stuck in mud, being stuck in mud means you're progressing. Does that make sense? So when I ask the question of how do you fear, what do you fear? What I'm asking is, are you actually using your knowledge to understand where you are in order to move through what could be fearful? And then I'm asking you, what is fearful to make you have to use your knowledge and understanding? I say that because knowledge and understanding are absolutely two different things. You can know something and still not understand it. The exact same way you can understand something but still not know what place it is in your life. People, to me, use those words as one and the same, and it's actually not true. It's like talking to a child and they say, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, you're talking and you may be scolding them or you may be giving them accolade. Either way, they're telling you that they hear you, but are they actually listening? I mean, and we've heard that analogy over and over again. It's like, yes, I'm talking and I hear you, but absolutely nothing has transferred to my frontal lobe for me to actually accept what you're saying or not accept what you're saying. Or my favorite, people talk and you're not listening at all. You're too busy trying to come up with a rebuttal in order to prove your point. Again, understanding and knowledge. When you are using those attributes, fear is a little bit more complicated to take over your emotions and your life. And you might say, well, how is that, Persita? Because if you understand who you are and what you're going through, you will have to always stop and say, before I'm going to fear this, let me think of, is this really debilitating over the long run? Or is this a stepping stone? Meaning, every month we stress about bills. Every month we stress about how we're going to pay them and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. But yet month after month, they're accomplished. It's solved. You don't know how it happens, be it you believing in a higher being or the universe or whatever you want to call it, or karma. But understand that month after month, you say the exact same thing with the exact same analogy of you're going to be worried because you don't know how it's going to happen. Money's not coming in the way you want, or whatever it is. You don't have enough time for yourself, or whatever it is that you use to worry about. Only to understand that month after month, you get through it and you accomplish it. It's hard to walk in fear when you take that approach to life. Most of us literally, let's just say, pray for things and get through them and completely forget that we got through it. So much so that you actually have to not even understand how you got it. You might say, well, what does that mean? You have to not understand. Every month you're saying, man, I just wish that I can do, whatever. Let's just say go shopping. Every month you shop. And you don't really know how you came up with the money, the time, the effort, or whatever it is to shop. And then you'll get through it and you'll say, oh, that was like a really great month for about 5 seconds. And then the next month comes and you say the exact same thing. You pray the exact same thing. You worry about the exact same thing. Acting as if you need to fear the unknown when time after time you've gone through things and they were accomplished. You still don't know how they actually went through. You just know that you stopped worrying about it. Thus, stop focusing on the fear side of it and just do what you can do and walk through that fear and realize that you come out on the other end completely successful. Now, when I think of what I fear, most of us fear things that have to do with other people and other people's opinions. Most of us find ourselves stuck in a rut, concerning ourselves with what others think, right? I mean, we find ourselves just saying things like, well, I don't want so-and-so to feel like I don't care, or, I really, really, really want to be able to go over here because this identifies success, or you want to take a trip because you want to take all the pictures and show everyone that you're living so great. I have learned that that's all fine and dandy, but the fear that I have is not doing what I need to do in a day-to-day. And to me, that fear is just as justifiable as someone trying to worry about an opinion. The difference is that I'm in total control of what I accomplish in a day. And perspectives of others is not something that I would even remotely want to fear, because guess what? I can't control it. So what if I propose to you today that there's actually nothing that you need to fear? If you can control what it is that you're doing, then you're moving through it, you're changing, you're progressing, you're learning a lesson, you're bumping your head, you're doing whatever you need to do to make it to the next level. Because we tend to think that failure is not progression. But it absolutely is if you're in a position where you are using every attribute of your life towards your purpose. Now, I will also say that if you are in a position of understanding yourself, back to that, it is very complicated for you to really fear anything. I mean, so many people, and usually this is going to sound terrible, so let me preface that by saying so many people walk around in the world today and they completely talking about how they don't give a fuck. And it bothers me to point of no end, because that person doesn't realize that the fact that you have to tell me that you don't give a fuck lets me know you give a fuck. And you might say, why is that? Because no one states the obvious. I don't have to walk around or even tell you on this video that I'm a black woman. I don't have to tell you anything about me that is obvious. When you're walking out of a place of fear and in true authenticity, things that you would continuously try to tell people about your personality or yourself don't have to be explained, because it's obvious. You are literally speaking nothing when the obvious is there. If you feel like you have to walk around and define yourself, and this is a society that is continuously in that give a fuck, as fuck mentality, or my absolute favorite, love yourself and I love me and I don't care what nobody else thinks, BS. If you didn't care what anybody else thinks, you wouldn't say it. Now, I'll get argued to the ground. And I'm still going to say that type of a person in my history of people is a person that always fears not being accepted. They always fear that someone is not going to like them. They always have this thing of really worrying about the perspectives of other people, and they put on a lot of airs. And typically behind closed doors, they're not very happy people. And they also don't have a lot of friends. Because if they did, a friend would just sit down and tell you, you don't have to say that. You're loved the way you are, and whoever doesn't really accept it doesn't accept it. So you have no desire or need to walk around telling people you don't give a fuck. Because they'll just know. The way that you move, the way that you act, the way that you speak will just speak and transcend into that reality, and there's no issue. So then there's no fear in that. Meaning, there's no fear in worrying about the perspectives of others. You simply do what you do without any bits of apology. So that even the line of unapologetic, I do things unapologetically, and I'm unapologetically me. You don't have to say it. If you are that way, you just simply are that way. And I challenge anyone to come on and tell me something different. Because I know, as well as everyone else that's looking at this video knows, that it would be true. Now, does it hurt? Is it mean? No, I don't think so. Because I'm not saying it as a put down. I'm simply saying it as an awareness to understand walking in what is real and what is your everyday and what your purpose is does not have the time to look and build on anyone other than yourself. So if you take 6 months out of the year to try to find out who you are, and that next 6 months, the few things you found out about yourself, you try to perfect, you have absolutely no time to talk about how many fucks you give, or if you're unapologetically you, or, if whatever else you want to say. I challenge you to tell me something different. You have an opinion about it? Say something at the bottom of this lovely video. I'd love to hear it. Until then, I'm going to stand on the fact of most people that I have talked to in my lifetime, and I'm not telling you I've spoken to everyone, but most people that I have talked to in my 40 some odd years on this earth cannot argue that point at all. Because what I say is absolutely been noted and documented as correct. So I still am going to tell you that fear is just a simple indirect way of not being aware of who you are. If you are spiritual, then you're not in awareness of who your God or your upper being or whoever you want to be, your universe is. You simply either believe or you don't believe. There's really no half thought into that. Either you understand that everything is not going to always be good, and even in the things that are bad, they're all purposeful. And let's just be honest, fear is not something that goes away. But if you really pay attention to it, fear has no way of recreating itself. So whatever you're fearing when you were a young person is the same thing that you're fearing when you're an older person. The only thing that has changed is the players. So if you're scared of the dark when you're younger, typically there's always something in the back of your head that will remain somehow scared of the dark. Now you might say, well, that's not true, Priscilla, because at one point I was fearful of the dark, but now I'm not. Guess what? The dark then represents something else. The dark could be poverty. The dark could be lack of admiration. The dark could be not being able to, provide for your kids. Catch what I'm saying? Dark can fall under a plethora of things, but it's always used the exact same way. Because I believe that negatives or Satan's type things or demonic things have no way of reproducing themselves to create something new. They simply use the exact same thing that you've always been afraid of, and they'll use another player, a friend, a job, a relationship, a parent, whatever it takes to put you in that fear place. So what I propose to you today is really understand that there is nothing to fear but fear itself. And truthfully, the overthinking of a person is worse than fear. Your thoughts are worse than anything you could possibly fear. And when you put those two together, you'll manifest things that aren't even possible to come your way. So what I'm actually saying is, watch your thoughts, because your thoughts manifest your fears. And once you're in that position and realize that it's your thoughts that give you the fear, you'll literally be in total control. If you do not believe in yourself, in something bigger, and understanding your purpose and knowing that, don't find it peculiar when you walk through negative things, because greatness requires work. And if you can do that, then when I ask you something like, what do you fear? There's absolutely nothing to fear. Because whatever is yours. Whatever people will think, they will think. Whatever successes you're going to have, it's not going to manifest without you actually executing them, unless you think your way or overthink your way into fear, which puts you in a position where you walk away from your greatness. So I dare you today to actually look fear in the face and go, I don't have to give you an acronym about it. I can know it within myself that I am capable and equipped to handle whatever comes my way. And if I'm not, that there's something bigger than me that absolutely has my back. period, point in the blank. Karma, universe, I call it Jesus, whatever you call it, understand that you have it and you can move through it. So, I ask you again, after all of that, what do you fear? I'd hope by the end of this video, absolutely nothing. As always, I thank you so much for joining me today. Look at that, the sun is coming through and I am now glistening, and that is my sign to tell you that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and there's absolutely nothing to fear at all. And in that, I need you to do the same 3 things that I always ask you to do. But today, I really want you to put emphasis on trying to make it work. Live life authentic, no matter what. Live life authentic. When times get rough and things seem like there's absolutely no way that you can be or do what you need to do, just remember the last time you felt that way. Hold on to that and then know it didn't kill you the last time, and it's absolutely not going to kill you this time. So thanks again so much for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. Hit the notification button so that you do not miss a video. And, feel free to watch this video over and over again. I'm looking forward to your feedback, positive or negative. I'm absolutely prepared for anything that you kick my way. So feel free to always communicate back to me. And in the meantime and in between times, I will see you Thursday for our next Thought for Thursday question. And I hope to you and I continue to do the one thing that we need to do every day. And that is be a blessing as you are asking for blessings to withstand every purpose you have day to day. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you on Thursday. Bye-bye.